Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our new episode.
Today we moved to a new place. We went to, we bought an office, a creator office. Now we're here. Good.
Yeah,
Even in these
we made
crazy times, we are like all together.
we made good money with these Twitch live streams. So how are you guys? I saw that Sloan is writing us. Thank you, Sloan, as always. Hi, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Nice to
So
be here.
today we're gonna look at
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Hope you gonna enjoy it. And maybe we could do some intro about the game. It's from Software, and it's a soul-like game. I hope you are good at soul-like games, because I'm not, and you're gonna see why. Thank you for the following, Guelph. Oh, Guelph, sorry. I love Sekiro. Huh.
You
That's
were
good
saying
to
you were saying something and then you stopped. What were you saying?
Me?
Yeah.
I was saying that Sekiro is a fine game if you're good at it, but yeah, we're gonna see that my gameplay is not probably the best one. Hope you still gonna enjoy it.
All right, so let's dive into the video. There you go. We start with a nice cinematic. As always, guys, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna analyze the environment of the game, and we're trying to highlight all the little details and all the little things that you can do in your environment to make your environment more like AAA looking and feeling. And in general, if you're not a game dev, this is a good way to understand the thinking process that goes behind video games from an art point of view. As always, if you have some questions, feel free to ask in the chat, and we might stop the video and answer them properly, or we might answer along the video, but don't feel shy. And thanks 3D Travels for the follow. I like that octopus spiral thing.
And also, Ellen Tranche followed us. I don't know if you. Jan is the shy guy here. Why am I the shy guy?
I mean, I kind of agree with Sloan.
Why though?
You can see in the screen already that he's not even looking at the camera because it's so shy, and he's looking at me. You see that it's like looking from that direction. Hey Paul, thanks for the sub. Really
Thank you so much, Paul. Welcome to the Spaghetti Gang.
Yeah. I hope what we make today is gonna be useful for your students. God, it's pretty cinematic. So I think we can start a poll, and we can start a survey and see. We should ask how many times Borto died during this gameplay.
Yeah, let's start a prediction.
Maybe start the prediction with like a 2-hour time frame rather than 5 minutes, so that people have time to answer it. And
actually, the maximum is 30 minutes, but I guess still fine, you know.
Yeah, now we become a gang.
I'm just trying to understand how I do things. Okay.
30 times. 25. Drink my dinner. Let's talk about food, Sloan. Alright, so now we should be back in the game. Let's see what's going on. What's this game it's all about, Another bit of narrative here. Have you guys played Sekiro?
狼の忍びはすべてを失っていた。育ての義父も守るべき
Yes, no.
主も。
This Marek is pretty long. It's only so that's good to know. That makes you a better player than Porto. Okay, so we are back again. Stretch. Let's do some stretch. Thanks. Caca de perro. Such a nice name. So the prediction is
Okay.
up, so you guys can vote your prediction.
It's actually a poll because I learned right now that the predictions just want a yes or no answer. So I did a poll up for the next 10 minutes. Feel free to vote.
You need to stretch and either it.
Oh,
Thanks
okay.
to Caca de Perro and Jacko89.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Alright, so we finally are in the game, and you know, the screen is very dark, and my window is like next to my screen, so I can't really see much. But we can see already that you know, there is a bit of framing. Obviously, the whole scene is very dark, but the only thing information you can see is the silhouette that has a lot of details here of this pathway. So obviously, you go where the light is coming from, and you know that's still the case. And thanks to the lights and thanks to the atmospheric fog that we got here, we have a sort of the atmospheric fog creates a contrast point, which is not very strong in this case, but it's almost like the only one. So that's where we have to go there. Another cool thing that is nice to see, as always, is a paddle there, which is pretty nice. And you can see in this case that the paddle is used on the terrain. It's not just the paddle, at least I think. It's not just like, you know, a mesh with a paddle material on it applied to the terrain, but it's also well integrated with some mud around it and like other things that better integrates it. Like in general, when you have a paddles, you got a good opportunity to create a very interesting terrain with mud, with the footprints, with the tire track, and etc. etc. And I guess I can't really tell here because it's very dark, but that might be the case. The paddles, as always.
I like to see how already 4 votes went to the 15-20 range.
Yeah, you miss the paddles, Lauren.
Thanks, this Scallon, for the follow. Welcome to the stream.
Obviously, at the beginning here, we are just learning how to play the game, and I guess Borto is not sure that that was the right way, so like, oh, let me go back.
Just you know, there's a thing in Soul games that I learned from the videos because I don't actually play a lot of them. That you need to go and search everything because there are always secret ways or stuff like that. Thanks, Jet Kinson, for the follow. Thank you so much.
So one thing that I want to highlight here is that because this wall, because every player that plays this game will go through this wall here, I think they put a bit of more details, and that's something that is worth doing. When you know, when you're making an environment for a game, and you know that all the players will go through that wall or they will all climb that wall. You try to add more details, and I can see here how they add this sort of moss decals on this wall, and on top of that which I'm gonna say many often. We got these plants there, which are creating nice details everywhere. And you can see how there is some sort of a channel here, which I think is in the middle here. There's like this sort of channel here. So yeah, in general, if you know that another percent of the player will go through that wall or through that door or under something, make sure that that something has a lot of details, like in this case. A lot of these are like nice details. You don't want to go over the board, but yeah, it's a good way to know the player is gonna be there. Also, you can see here where the rocks meet the ground. Often we try not to go. If I try to draw 2D, these rocks here, we got the ground that is like that, and then the rocks that is like that. We always try to hide this connection point here because we wanted to try to avoid that mesh looking clipping each other. So often we create materials, or especially like for organic mesh like rocks, that helps to blend with the terrain, so they have like some sort of buffer that colors the rock to better blend. But another thing that we sometimes do, if we have the space for it, we try to create some sort of buffer with other rocks, just to to blend a bit better. And we can see in this case that we got the plants here, wherever we don't want the player to go, so we can hide that corner with plants, so we can have like plants here, which is really good. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's very hard. It starts from here. Okay, we managed to get it. So you can see again the level of details. Like we got like the grass here, the grass there. We got this thing that probably, I don't know if the character will actually use it. Maybe not. We got nice, interesting silhouette, and it's kind of nicely thing. So definitely, this like base here is very well created because the ratio of players going through that is 100%. Next ball, how many times attempts? Exactly. Okay, so here I think is where we introduce the players how to slide. So in this case here, you can see how we got these scratches here. This is probably, you saw that in many other games like Uncharted, like Tomb Raider, Last of Us, or this other game. And that's in fact to signpost where we have that type of gameplay. So in this case, we got this ledge here, which is pretty obvious, and then we signpost that you can use this ledge by adding this sort of elements, which is like an easy trick to do that. And why we signpost it, so that even if you are far away, or like if you are looking at this location from another direction where you don't see this ledge here, you will be able to tell that that's a place where you can use the ledge. And again, when players use a ledge, it's another way, it's another of those games that I've been talking about in other episodes, where we know that the camera is gonna look at this location, right? So if we know that the camera is gonna look there, we know that we can play with composition, we can play with other like elements and things. In this case, what I also really like is the fact that there's like a rock here, and they add a bit of information that broke the silhouette a bit, which is really nicely done. And yeah, this scene is pretty straightforward. You got this ledge, you go there, and then you go there. But yeah, in general, talking about this, like this sort of details here is just to signpost where you are able to slide and walk on a ledge, like in many other games.
I think there's something off with my cam. It's very delayed.
Yeah, there's always something off with your cam somehow. Don't know why. So here, if I go back a bit, so here we just learned how to slide, and now we got another tutorial, which is a surprise to see tutorials, which shows us how to use the gameplay grass. That's how we kind of call it. And the gameplay grass is that sort of vegetation, which is like medium tall vegetation that allows the player to hide in it. Like in this case, yeah. You can find that in plenty of games again. Like it's not a big thing, but it's good to put a lot of effort in the tutorialization of the things right at the beginning, so that you don't have the player will not miss out on sort of gameplay functionalities. On this scene, we just came out from that ledge, and you can see how there is a sort of work on the composition. So if we draw all famous like rule of third, which I'm doing by eye, so forgive me if they're not super accurate, but like if the camera was slightly tilted up, you will see that that location here will fall on one of the intersection lines. And for who is not familiar about the rule of third is just let's call it an easy way to create a composition that allows the eyes to move naturally in the scene and makes it like prettier and more readable. So you can see how this location here falls on one of the rule of third. And another nice things that they did to grab attention is to put a light source there. So you can see, let me actually change color. Let me use this red, the light source here. So obviously the light source creates a high contrast location in the frame, which attracts the eye. So the eye will definitely look there. And the fact that this is where one of the rule of third intersection is like a good way to say, oh, look at that. And then you got this sort of vignetting created by this gameplay grass, and you can read the space already. You got these elements here that are very vertical somehow. You can see there is like woods like that, and then there are some diagonal woods, which shows, okay, that's not where you go. But then here is open, so you can see, oh, there is a flanking route there, and you can see that there's one guard here, one guard there, because probably they are lit by the light or something. I don't know. One guard there, so you know that if you wanna take these guards over, you can either go there, but then that one will all of them will see you, and then you will have to deal with multiple enemies at the same time. Or maybe you can keep walking on the gameplay grass and go behind and maybe get to this guy from behind the tent, which is a nice way to fight this scene here. And I think in general, it's really good when you make an environment to add a lot of options in terms of flanking routes or climbing ledges or like things that the players can experience, so that when they play the game, they feel like they are deciding what to do. And yeah, I hope that makes sense. I think Bortolanza is glitching out and it's going into the matrix. We're gonna disable it for now because I don't like to see that. Okay, so let me. And yeah, let's see where it goes. Are you still with us, Borto?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
You can see how Borto goes on the other side. There wasn't a tent, but there was just a fence. It was out reading this dark. And yeah, that's another cool thing. Here, you see how from the gameplay grass we went inside under here just to be sneaky. So that's something that's cool. And you try to highlight if you have a stealth mechanics in your game. If you're making an environment for a portfolio which is not in game, it's a good way. Like you should identify some mechanics that you want to have that you want to keep an eye in your environment and try to identify that. And when you finish the environment, you should highlight when you present the thinking process that went behind all these little things. This little thing. So here you can see here. This is kind of another thing that we kind of know that the players might be here because we got this gameplay grass ending here. We got a nice cover that gives you protection, so you can still like can assess the situation there. And then you have these nice structures there. Don't mind my lines. You can see how these structures, as well as the tree and everything, is very visible because of the brightness of the sky behind, which makes this nice silhouette. One other nice things about this shot is the trees here. The trees there are creating a sort of vignette kind of effect, like a natural vignette made with the plants, which kind of creates this sort of focus on this area here, which is very strong because we got these walkways going up, which is very good for needing the eye there. Something like that. And last thing, obviously we got a light there which attracts your eyes, but what's important here is that the characters, probably the enemies here, they are not placed against the structure here. They're not like in front of the structure, but they're slightly offset, and that's to highlight their silhouette against the sky, the bright sky. And that's a good way to tell you, oh, there is enemies there, so be careful. Lastly, from this location, I guess it can be controlled a bit because you are like at the end of that and you got the lights there, so you're looking at that. So when you're looking at that, you know how the frame is nicely presented in terms of composition as well. So somehow they try to add that house there around this area when you're approaching to this location, so that is nicely planned. Okay, the game makes a greater use of focal points. Winnies, you tend to be able to see you go for each time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, winnies is definitely like another good word to call like this sort of things, like winnies, which is what practice. That makes sense. Thanks for the word. You still with us, Bortom?
Yeah, I'm here.
Is the camera working now?
I don't know if it's reliable, so let's continue like that.
Okay. Again, here, as we were talking earlier about the signpost in the ledge, this is another like easy way to signpost the fact that there is a climbing ledge that you can use to sneak it going through. Again, you can see here on the left, you can kind of grab that ledge, so it's very nicely signpost. Cool. Yeah, we should have counted how many jumps here. Like sometimes when you have a flanking route that you want to add, you need to add some storytelling of this kind. So if you can, you just have a flanking route that you go inside from another entrance or some other like door or windows or something. But if you don't have that option, then sometimes it makes sense to create that option, right? So to create that sort of opening here, which is which will create a new entry point for the location. And as always, you can see, if we want to highlight this again, this is like signposting that there is ledge here. Usually it's just literally a mesh, and you can see where the mesh ends. It's like a 90 degrees corner mesh that you can use there with a nice decals. And as we were saying earlier, they know that some player will go through this the side entry of this space, so they place a bit of assets to make it pretty. Because in general, when you make a POI working on the like entry points, is really good because the POI or the location or the building that you're making can be entered by certain locations, and you know that at least one the player will use to go through. So if you that's like a good way to to focus the details on where it's likely that the player is going to go through. And you can see here there's like some spider net, and you got some moss here, and obviously inside you got some winnies, which is like some lines there that guides you in there, and some lines there that tells that there is a stairs that's going up, so you already know that there is a second floor. Are there guards on the second floor? Who knows? But at least now you already know that there's something there. Right, that was a cinematic. Shall we try to enable Borto?
No, I think it's for the best that this time I'll just stay off with the cam. I don't know what's going on.
As Sloan was saying, Borto's a bit shy, so it's like try to add lag on his cam, so they have a vision to turn it off.
Yeah, I developed an app that it's glitching my cam on purpose. So you have an excuse.
Again, guys, if you have any questions or things, please let us know. Let us know in the comment. We will do our best to answer those. And if there is any problem, like volume is too low, there we go.
You call it.
Right. I increased a bit the gain of my mic. I hope this is better. Maybe I should place it like more in front, like that. Is this better? I hope this is better. My volume is always low. Not where. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 1. I just pushed the gain to the top, so now it should be good. But yeah. Cool. So we just finished the cinematic. We are in this little interior space. Looking good. Better. Thanks.
So still 0 death right here. Just wanted to point out.
Yeah, we are all very surprised. So as Paul was saying, the game starts here, so that's I guess why you didn't die yet. Sloan said you can't really die in a cinematic, I guess, which is very true. But yeah, so yeah, this I guess that's where the game starts, and before was just a way to tutorialize how to play the game too, so it was very easy. Open that door. Yeah, so we got some menus here, it's really cool.
But I forgot to cut from the video.
So one thing that I noticed that is really cool, and sometimes it's not really seen. Can you die in cinematic in Black Ops? I guess some Black Ops cinematic. So here, what I noticed here, which is cool details, is that So this place looks like a place where people write things or study books, and you can see the storytelling here. You can see books here, books there, books there. You can see some sort of paper thing here. That maybe they're writing something, and I think there's something here too, maybe some pen. So it's definitely like a place of where people learn things, I guess. And what I like about this is that the stairs are not just stairs empty, but they use the same thematic of library or something on the steps to break that monotony of the steps. So I think in general, if you have elements that are repeated a lot, like in this case, the steps of the stairs are repeated like many times based on the steps that are there. So you can see if I start to draw them all, it will take a bit, but you can see how there are many steps. So you can break those monotony with elements that are part of the same thematic, which is really cool in my opinion. And another thing is that if you have the chance and if the steps allows you, you can see how the silhouette of some steps is slightly deformed, and that's adding like that sort of storytelling layer to the asset step. So in this case, some steps were made with a stronger wood, so some steps are still straight, other are maybe used with weaker wood, and because of that, you can say how some steps are like slightly bended, and you don't want to bend it at the end. You want to make sense where you bend it. So if you think about how people use the stairs, people use the stairs in the middle most of the time, unless there are two people going up and down, and then you're gonna use the side. But in this case, looks like we're using in the middle, and that's when you're gonna add that sort of usage of the stairs. So if you assume that people are walking in the middle of the stairs, that's where you can add that sort of deformation to the steps to add that extra level of storytelling, which is like a small details, but it's what those details that makes this game so great, in my opinion. And yeah, let's see where we go.
We have a question from the chat. Polygon asked for repetitive objects like the books, how would they be textured?
So I can't really tell the texture because it's all very dark, but I think they're usually like an atlas of a lot of texture, and all the book meshes are like sourcing from the atlas that specific thing. Another thing that you can do, especially in an engine that allows you to do that, is to create the atlas without colors and add the colors in the graph of the object, and maybe connect the color variation to the word position, so that the word position gives you a seed to randomize the color that the book is gonna have. So in that case, if you have a generic props like books, you can quickly place them many times in the word, and you don't have to worry about adding variation or making it all very unique. Instead of having one asset that is like textured and bigger, like in the asset, that will not allow you to have that sort of color variation. But instead, you will have the same repeated colors with the same repeated like layout, which is something cool. And then in terms of model, I think for a book, ideally you should have a few like a kit, especially books which is very generic, and you sometimes you just want to float that space with those, if that makes sense. You want to add maybe a pile of, I'm gonna do very simplified, you're gonna have a pile of book, you're gonna have a standing book with a one that is slightly tilted, you're gonna have few books on the like lying on each other or something, and then you try to dress with all of them, and that's also how you create variation. So if on top of this sort of dressing, you also have the color variation that is based on the seed of the word position in the level, you definitely get like a good variation and variety of colors and books. Sometimes, funny enough, we use books to add some Easter eggs in games. So we on purposely write some like the name of a book that is like a reference to another game, to another something. This is an easy way to add Easter eggs. Hope that makes sense, Paul. So in this case, I think the books are so generic that you can so nice that you can really tell um, which book is what, because they're all kind of gray, so you don't have that problem.
That book's physics pretty cool.
Very cool indeed. There you go. Welcome to Sekiro. Like how long it takes for you to read?
I was getting prepared, mentally prepared. They name a book after his dad about Markiplier in Doom. Let's see. That's cool. Also in Metro, that we broke down recently. Metro is based on a book, and that same book was in the environments of the city in Metro. So that was a funny detail.
Thanks for iteration, Sylvia. You can see the amount of props around where you're fighting is very limited. And I think in this game, because you're always dashing, jumping around, you can see like here at the beginning, there's literally nothing. And you see that there's literally entrance or a courtyard, and there is nothing around. At least nothing that can blocks you while you're dashing. Because imagine if there was something like a wall here, and this guy is coming towards you, and you try to dash on this side, and you're hitting the wall, and you cannot dodge his attack, and then you get hit. That's where the frustration of the player start to rise. And yeah, so like in this game, which is like I don't know how you call it, like fighting game. Maybe fighting doesn't give
action?
it doesn't give it justice, but you know what I mean. Like where in this case you have to fight with a player and move around and dodge attacks and things like that. So you need to have a lot of freedom in terms of space to move around. You can tell the same for other games. So if you're like making a cover-based shooter, you want the opposite, because cover-based shooters you use covers as one of the main like gameplay elements where to navigate the space. So a cover-based shooter would not work in this kind of environment, because there is a big lack of covers, which you will add. Or in general, in every shooter, you want like covers, so it wouldn't work. But because this game is about fighting, and it doesn't have like fire weapons, I believe. But you got sword, and you have to fight that, so then you want to create that space, which doesn't mean that you don't have to dress the space, but you need to use elements like these like sort of stones here that are not intersecting with the movement of the player. So in this case, players and NPC can walk on it, and they will all be nothing. They will not block the player thing. Also, grass is another thing. So low grass, you got low grass there, which is so there. You got roots, which is things. So basically, all the things that doesn't cut the nav mesh. If you don't know what nav mesh, which is short for navigation mesh, is literally I'm gonna try to explain it here. So let's say that we got ground here, which is like this, and then we have a little happy house. Is that? Is it happy? And then we get some platform there, and there's a ramp there. So the nav mesh is basically a mesh that I think nowadays all the engine generates automatically, but look back in the day, I think people were making it by themselves manually. It's basically a layer of mesh like this that it's all contiguous, continue, like that. That only shows that it's only like that, so it doesn't get generated on the vertical thing. What happened on the vertical thing? There are like ways to connect the nav mesh so that we can connect that. So imagine there is a connection here, which is like with an arrow, and you can do that. So you can go down or climb up, and here you can climb up. Here you can climb up, and that's what connects the nav mesh. And the nav mesh is basically, this layer of mesh, which is where the NPCs are allowed to walk. So I think in this case they might use the nav mesh. So you got the NPC that is able to walk and fight here with a sword, and it's really cool. And yeah, usually nav mesh. So in some other games, the nav mesh is also used for the player, and yeah, it's really good. Then I hope that nav mesh makes sense. So what I will say is that in this kind of game that you need a lot of space to fight around, you need to put elements that doesn't break the nav mesh. And when I say it doesn't break the nav mesh, is like elements that are so short that they will not affect the generation of the nav mesh, like stones, like grass, like those sort of elements. If you add, usually there's a metric. So if you're working on a project, you have to come up with it. But if you're working on a big game, there's like a metrics about the game that tells you if you go over 20 centimeters, that will affect the nav mesh. So so in this case, you will have to place all objects under 20 centimeters to prevent nav mesh holes and vibration, which is why you want to try to avoid. Obviously, there are some elements like grass that doesn't cut the nav mesh, so it doesn't affect the nav mesh, but yeah, so you can place them everywhere regardless. Makes it cool. Hope you guys understood the concept of nav mesh.
For example, in our VR project, the nav mesh is where the player can teleport himself, so determines which is the navigation that the player can take.
Cool. Oh, is that like a mini boss? No, counter slash.
Yeah,
Okay.
a very mini boss.
I like how you're not skipping the tutorials in this game.
I always read it very carefully. First player, yeah, first time. Also, I'm not very used to Soul-like game. I played Dark Souls, but like for 1 hour, and then I uninstall it. Love Dark Souls, yeah. Can't say the same.
What I'm gonna about to say here.
I see a lot of water on the ground.
Exactly, guys. Puddles and water, they're never too many. So yeah, again, puddles here, cool. If the water on the puddles can react with the blood of the NPCs that are dying on it, it's even cooler. Because it adds that little sense of connection, which a lot of games doesn't have between characters and the environment. But another cool things that I wanna point out is how nice the silhouette of the next structures is. So you can see here the structures sort of ending sort of like that. I think I can really tell. And then on top of that we got some wooden structures, something like that. And then we also have some stones at the bottom. And I don't know what else, like there's more I think here. You can see how nice and curated the silhouette is, and that's like very important when when you make like AAA game to work on the silhouette. You can see also the grass; it's also helping a bit, and yeah. So that's just a reminder to really work on the silhouette and try to create interesting shapes rather than just flat things. When you're working on if you're really focusing on the silhouette of shapes and things, it might be a good thing if you're working in Maya or any 3D software to apply a very flat material that doesn't receive any light information. So in that way, you will only see the shape of it, and you will not see the three dimensionality of the of the object, which will let you focus more on the silhouette, which is very useful, in my opinion. And yeah, and also we got this like crack or like exposed stones here, which is a really good way to transition the details from a normal simple world to an interesting silhouette. And as I often say, you can see here we got some, let me use the blue one. We got some stones here, which are really cool, which is really cool details to transition between the wall to the ground. And, as I always say, when you have a wall and then when you have a floor, you always try to work around this corner here so that you don't see this like line of mesh intersecting with each other. And often we add some sort of skirting, or in that case, they add some sort of stones like that. And then yeah, like in that case, I think there's like a stone, something like that. And then there's the terrain slightly going down like that, which connects that better. And then you can have some grass spawning there, so that you are creating a better transition between the vertical and the horizontal plane. One last thing that I want to mention is, which is I don't know if that's the case, but this is a good reminder. You see these windows here? These windows are really cool opportunity to create an interesting view through it, right? I don't think that's the case because they are very small and the camera is like very far away. But for first-person game or for other type of game, having these holes, it means that there is the likelihood of that the player will go here and look through that. And if that's the case, you want to be able to frame like an interesting location in the faraway environment or other little thing, which is I think a really cool reminder. Yeah. And yeah, about talking about like this sort of details, you can see it on the rock here. There's like this wall here, and then there's the rock, some paddles. Yeah, that are creating that sort of transition that we were talking about. It's pretty cool. And yeah, and lastly, yes, let's add puddles and things everywhere because that makes the game shiny and nice, and also adds a lot of contrast because the puddles are very shiny by their own nature. So often when you make an environment like the terrain is now gonna be shiny, or at least like from the camera point of view, it's now gonna look shiny. So it's good that you add puddles because it creates that sort of material contrast between a rough material and a soft material, which is really good in general. And when you place puddle, make sure that what's in front of you is bright enough to be reflected on the puddle. So you can see there's a light here that is like kind of bouncing on this puddle and then getting on your eye, which is really important because if you add the puddle but the backdrop is dark, you will not see the puddle because there is nothing to reflect because literally the puddle reflects light. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Look at that! What a nice drawing you did.
I know, right? Talking about light, I know it's not my department, but another good things that you can do to improve how the specular in your scene works is placing light not on the ceiling. So if I draw on the side here a little room, And I draw that on the Cyberpunk, so I'm gonna be quickly. So if you're interested in that, go check the Cyberpunk episode on YouTube. But the idea is that if you have a light here, that is going like that, the light will bounce there, and then I guess perpendicularly will bounce on the opposite thing, and then bounce down, blah blah blah. So in that way, in order to see reflection or material information like roughness on the floor here, the players has to be somewhere around here looking down in order to see that bounce reflection thing. Where if you instead use a light, instead of placing on top, you basically like quite low in terms of the composition, like some sort of thing here, then at this point the same light will bounce here and then will bounce there. And in that case, it's much easier for the players, which is working here, missing player, to see the details, right? Because they're gonna be in the camera frustum of the player. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? You guys understood? I hope that makes sense. So if you see that your scene is a bit flat in terms of material contrast, but you really had a really good roughness map, which is the map that defines how specular the object is, try to place a lower light so that you create a cooler effect. That doesn't mean that the light you should never use it. I think that the light from the top, it's really good to signpost the doors or points that you have to go in order to achieve something or the goal or something like that. But like on those corridors, on those like non very gameplay heavy space of your environment, having low light, it will definitely improve your how your material will look like, in my opinion. And yeah, that's cool. That makes sense.
Let's see how John dies. But you need to wait a little more, I guess.
So another quick thing here, and I'm gonna be brief. We got this walkway, which is pretty obvious, that tells us where you have to go. And in this case, they used instead of just painting paint, or maybe that's the case, I don't know. It looks like they use snow. So even if in another place there isn't the same amount of snow, you can see how there is snow on it, and that's like a nice way to signpost that you can walk here and get to the top. And the snow is also the same color as how the sign posted here, which is like, in that case it's not snow, but it's just like scratches, which is cool. And in this case, what they did really well, in my opinion, to highlight more this ledge here, is creating contrast with the colors of the wall. You can see on the wall here, they use the same rock, so this rock is the same rock as that, but because there is this mossy wall here, it definitely breaks this line, which makes it stands out even more, which is then connected to this, so it's very readable from the distance before you even like approach the space that you have to go like that. Again, guys, if you have any question, feel free to post it in the chat, and we will do our best to review them. Did you just fall? What happened there? No.
Yeah. So that wasn't my day at all. Also, I should have, cut this part, but I guess not about it.
Oh my god, that's where the viewers drops, because they're like, what the hell is this guy doing?
I did it.
Jumping simulator.
Simulator, yeah.
Exactly. You see how all the planks that you can climb are kind of signposts? It's the same way, so they use the same visual language. If you can integrate the way you signpost the things in that like way, that's a really good way too. Like sometimes you see painted rocks or painted planks, and that's cool. That's very like strong in terms of readability. But if you can, like they did here, have the edge and wear of the rock signposting something, that's better. Because I guess players likes to figure out things, and if you put things too much in their face, it's not as good. You should put less subtle thing that the brain understand, and players just feel like naturally going to do those things. And yeah, as Callum said, lights definitely helps to bring player to location or to highlight location, like goals, like where you have to go, or like maybe secret doors. Was there snow on landing? Yeah, yeah, that was a good point. Yeah, so I think if you have snow on landing, I don't know if the snow actually prevent you to get damage in this game, but signposting where we want the players to drop is a good way to make sure that they don't kill themselves dropping somewhere else. And in general, they're like, all right, that's white. I can see the landing zone, and it's very highlighted, and I'm gonna jump there. Very cool.
So that's an interesting question by Scallon that asks, while it's important to help direct a player, do you feel that those kind of markings are a bit too obvious or in some cases unnatural?
Let's go to the office.
Oh, I'm here.
So yeah, sometimes there is always this fight within between design and art, and I mean it's not fake office. So there's always this fight between design and art, because design wants to make the game fun and readable, and they want to know where they want to make sure that the players knows where to go and things like that. So they go like, oh, we need to make this very obvious. At the same time, artists try to make it like more realistic, so we're trying to make something more like more integrated in the scene based on the type of scene that we're making. And I think ultimately the best thing is when design and art comes together, and they are all focusing on the experience. So in this case, if the experience is not ruined by adding those elements, then we should that there should be like a middle ground between those two departments, which is thing. A lot of times you got stories about level design that says, oh, we need to focus on making the game fun first, and we don't have to make it nice. Like they do want to make it nice, but like for the sake of the example, let's say they don't want to make nice, where the environment art, they're like, oh, we want to make it pretty, we want a nice composition, we want the lights there that is kind of in your face but creates a nice puddles there. And both are right in that department, but for the game I think the teamwork between the level design and environment art is what makes the experience really good. So as well, like as always, like communication and finding ideas together and try to work together is what will make ultimately the game a really good experience, because it's gonna play good, because level design did a good job and is passionate about it, and it's gonna look good because the environment art is passionate and likes art as well. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, if you can, if the artist can find ways to integrate those details less in your face, but still maintain the same sort of readability, then that would be like perfect. And Triangle, that kind of affordance also improve the comfort by making reading the game and navigation faster. So even if it obviously leaves your brain more process and to focus on important part like combat, nav, and puzzle. Exactly. So that's very true. So in location that you maybe don't have you don't have to fight and you don't have like a lot of things going on. Maybe those elements are not as signpost as other location, but as in said, those elements in when you have a lot of things going on can really help you understand how to fight a boss or how to run away from a situation that you didn't want to get into yourself into and things like that very quickly because your brain see them and the brain sees that because they are a bit popping from the rest of the environment, which is like in that case a good thing. So I think you can have a variation. In some areas you can have a more visible, like in very hard to navigate environment. In other area which is like safe and you're just like corridors or like a safe narrative journey, you can have them less visible, so that you focus more on the experience of like absorbing the details of the world without getting distracted by the navigation thing if you don't need it. And yeah, cool. Hope that answered. And yeah, thanks for the extra information.
Hello,
Oh,
world. Hello, King Delu.
let's go back to
Yeah,
the video.
like the bot reminded you, we are taking questions, so feel free to drop them in the chat.
So here, and remember guys, when I was talking about the stairs, here we got another example where this soil dirt is sort of breaking the repetitivity of the steps. And again, you can see the steps that are well used. So you can learn just from that it's like a ruined place or like something that is very old. And you can see by how the steps are bended downwards where like normally people will work up to. Just a quick reminder. And obviously, as someone was saying in the chat, we got a light here which is telling you where to go, but in this case it's pretty obvious because we are stairs corridor. So
We should name our bot Spaghetti Bot. Yeah, we should.
so here it's really cool. Actually, let me go back a bit on the video so that we frame it. So we're coming up here and let's go with that. Bam. So in this shot here, we got a good opportunity to frame the view of the player thanks to this door. Because this door, which is it's in this case, it's like entrance here. It's basically removing everything outside this area, like the one that I'm drawing here. And it's making you focusing only on what you see here. So what you see here, it's pretty interesting and it's pretty like nice and very like good looking. But if we try to simplify this shape with a square, so let's say that we have a square here, and we try to draw the rule third on this square, you can see how some elements will fall in certain location. Actually, this is too long. But you can see there is a element here, rocks here. So you can see how, thanks to this exit, you can create a nice composition, a nice frame. And the reason why you do that is because 100% of the player will exit from this location looking in that direction. And because of the wall, their field of view is gonna be constrained on that little section of the thing, which is similar to what we were saying earlier about the windows on that wall, because the windows allow you to frame something on that location then. So yeah, in this case, framing is a good way to to work on composition and guiding the player. And yeah, it's really cool. I like the moon there. It's like pretty cool. It creates a nice rim lights effects on rocks. And yeah, pretty cool. I like these little flowers there. And like when you're framing, when you're coming out from a door, you don't have only to make it pretty, but you can also show the player where they have to go and place in the composition. So you can show the goal, you can show like different other things. You don't have just to focusing on making it pretty and in composition. You can also use the framing to show the player where they have to go or the goal that they need to reach and stuff like that. That makes sense. What are we talking about here? King Dela wants to see Jan. Shall we enable Jan? It's gonna be a bit delayed, but we can have Jan. Oh no, we don't have Jan. Is Jan still with us? I think Jan abandoned us. Hey Jan. So one thing that I noticed here, and I couldn't not see it, have to pay.
Sorry, need to go to the bathroom.
So one thing that I saw here, which was really catching my eye, is the fact that the main source of light is here, and it's casting on the herd from far away. But look at this sword. This sword gets some sort of very bright reflection on this side here. And that's that's like cheating, because probably there is a source of light here pointing up just to make this sword popping out more. But yeah, I just want to point out that because I'm like, where is that light coming from? So I think in this case they got away with it because all the flowers here, all the leaves are white. So because they're white, they will reflect a lot on metal shiny things. But the fact that they're not like as strong as that part in this area here, it suggested to me that this is just a fake light, which is good because they wanted to highlight and separate the sword from the background, which is really cool. And then yeah, cool. Composition wise, obviously this is cinematic, so it's very hard. It's very easy to put it, but you can see how the character is like right there in your face, and then yeah, probably I don't know. Let's see if we cut a bit more, and we go even deeper in the composition. You can see how the area where the sword is lit is kind of bright, and yeah, in general. Pretty cool.
You know, I see some golden rule there with the bow.
Yeah, golden rules everywhere. So let's make both of PS. Let's see. Ah, we go. Do you like it better?
I think it's more stable now, hopefully.
Yeah, and then as Scallon was saying, also the bow behind the guy was highlighted with some fake light. It's very true. I can move outside here. That's so cool. I guess this was scripted, right?
Yeah, it was. It's actually possible to beat this boss too. I don't think that's true. No, I think they.
I
They
think he's
need you
now.
to
I think he's
die.
now asking. Is saying.
I'm pretty sure you can.
With the amount of animation that is behind this cutscene, I feel like it's a must.
Did you lose something? Yeah, my heart. It is, but the script it's so someone should. Oh, so I think Leo, we could actually take a break since we are in half stream and
But
maybe
you haven't died yet.
Yeah, that's true. So that's a good point where to take a break.
All right. What do you want
We
us
could
to do?
see some new memes that I did for you.
We got
as a
memes
kid.
today. Okay, let me. So for who's new with this format, every stream Porto is making some memes for me because he's a meme maker. If you need if you need someone to make meme for you, please ask him. And let's see what he made.
Yeah.
What he made today. Let's start with
I'm
this.
a professional meme maker. $5 per meme, and you can.
All right, first we
He's
got
not
this.
meme make. So yeah.
Look at those pictures. I was so young in those pictures. Yeah, this is back to this is the rule of third, and it's a very easy way to explain composition when you're doing stream and thing. And this is what's it called, the golden ratio that follows the Fibonacci rule. That's it. Rotate my kid.
Oh yeah, you should.
And the Fibonacci rules, the sequence works that you always add the number before the sequence of numbers, and that's how you get the next number. So if you start with 1, you get 1, and then you get 2, and then 1 plus 2 equals 3, and 2 plus 3 equals 5, and 5 plus 3 equals 8, and 5 plus 8 equals 13.
I like how
1.
every time I have to make you explain the Fibonacci rule.
Yeah. So if you make those squares in like in this thing and next to each other, it will create this spiral thing, which is supposed to be the spiral that all nature's is reference to when you see like flowers, when you see petals going around, when you see like broccoli, you see that the way they are like shaped and going around is like following this sort of rules. And in general, like this is like a really nice way to balance the frame because it allows you to I don't know, put elements here, or like having a land something and have a castle there, and then you can you're coming out from a cave, and then you can have other elements there and some I don't know paddles there that are like following these lines and a path going that way or something. So you can kind of use this guideline as a way to really balance the shot. It's very hard to explain and it's very hard to use it in like in this kind of format, but it is a really good rules, and sometimes we try to overlay on it just to make it even prettier. But yeah, like you got the moon here or something. There's like all around things. Got trees, and maybe the trees here is like going like that, like a taller trees. Yeah, you got like rocks like that are following. Like maybe there's a cloud there that is like going this. So there are all. You don't have to stick on the lines. Like right now, I'm just like trying to explain you even more what's the thing. But in general, like there should be that sort of harmony in the scene. If that makes sense.
Cool.
I have to explain it because you add this sort of meme, so people are like, "What the hell is that?"
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then what we got another meme. I guess we were feeling lazy today, but we got this. So yeah, I say a lot of times on top of that, and I'm sorry for that. It's nice to see all the other options that I have. I
I just wanted just to use 2 times the meme because I felt proud of it.
Yeah, that was really good. Again, guys, if you need some professional meme maker, please reach Porto. He would be happy to work with you.
On top of Jan.
And then what we have here? Oh, he's just promoting him. Yeah, this is funny because when you work in a big company, you're gonna get a lot of gifts and swags and things. So I got like this Ubisoft water bottle, and then you got this Far Cry water bottle, and sometimes I'm like, not on purpose, but drinking it like that, like not covering the logo, and it feels like very product placements.
Yeah.
It's kind of true. Should I continue or shall we go back to the video?
Well, continue with the video. Yeah.
All right,
So
last meme.
okay.
Sorry, what was happening? Question time. So yeah, as you know, every now and then, Borto wants to ask a question, and yeah, that's how he interrupts the flow of the video. Like question time.
Yeah.
Very funny, very funny. Okay, cool. I think we can go back to the video. And again, guys, if you have other question or things, feel free to ask it. We will either address during the gameplay or during the webcam, during in our office. Let's go back.
So there's a last meme that we're gonna show at the end of the video. So you need to keep watching until the very end to see it.
Ooh, secret. So what's the one that water ball? I guess you can buy it. There is a Ubisoft merchandise that can sell that.
目覚めたようじゃ。どうやらまだ死ぬ定めではない。
That's a very hairy dude right there.
Yeah, indeed. So I'm gonna go to the loo 2 seconds and then I come back and I leave. Be right back.
You're finally awake. Shinobi prosthetic, yeah. So you guys played Sekiro? Are you good at it? Kinda, yeah. Nope. Nope, you didn't play it, or are you the only film I didn't play? Ah, see. Haven't finished it. 9? I should probably. I didn't play because no sorceries, no sort. Oh, you like the role-playing fact about Dark Souls, but you have power-ups in the game. You know, Shinobi power-ups, but stuck in other half of the game. Yeah, I wish I could reach that part. So this was actually my first Soul-like game. You know, I said it before. I played Dark Souls, but like the first hour, you know, getting used to commands and then just the time to uninstall it.
Yeah, I should have the entrance like that. Back? I'm back and oh, I saw like a really cool shot like coming out from this door again, like earlier. We can frame what we see and we can place things in a nice way. Actually, let me go back to wrong one. Let me go back to the video. So let me how do I go back? Sorry for this technical problems. All right, kind of like that. I think Porto was very fast at running away from it. But yeah, I just want to point out that as soon as you come out from this door, you got this, which is very visible. And guess what? It's very on the rule of third. Probably if I was taking the screenshot a bit earlier, you would definitely see that. So again, rule of third, very easy to explain. You got that, and then you got also these blanket rules over there, which is highlighted with the snow, so you can see the contrast. And the reason why we see mostly those two locations there is because of the contrast that there is in the image. You can see how you can see the silhouette thanks to the atmospheric fog that is behind there and the light that is probably coming from behind the rocks there. You can see a lot of contrast, and naturally the eyes goes where there is contrast. And yeah, so I feel like this is like the strongest contrast, and that's what you see first. And then if you look at it, obviously you see that, but this is like something like that you go there and then you either go left or right, in my opinion. But yeah, and then the reason why you see this flanking road, if it is one, is because the usage of snow creates a really good contrast between the snow and the soil, the exposed soil under the trees, because the trees will have some sort of canopy that will protect the snow from falling underneath. Like especially if the snow is so little. If you live in a place that it snows a lot, probably you get snows everywhere. But in that case, it works really well. And yeah, last thing, when you make a composition or when you make a thing, it's really cool to have foreground elements, like in this case, and obviously make sure that they have a nice silhouette. You can see how here is not just a wooden post, but has also a lot of details that kind of breaks the silhouette here and there. Yeah, more on this side, I guess. That one, etc. So in general, this is like really good to create a sense of depth, because if you have like a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, it's really good, and it's very nice to for like from our composition point of view. That makes sense. Guess he was saying it. I was like, oh, it's getting hard now. Saying, you see how those glowing things appears? They have like that sort of orbs around there, and it's like kind of color coded. So probably every color is connected to a specific type of things that you can loot. If you're familiar with RPG games or like loot games like Borderlands,
Diablo,
or things like
Borderlands,
that. All the items that you get once you kill enemies, they are like popping out with different colors, and that's just to give you already a good good understanding of what item you're gonna get and if it's worth to get. So one thing that is really good here, obviously we got a tutorialization of the grapple. You got tutorial there, so pretty easy. Again, we got the ledge here, which acts as a foreground, and this post here, which is pretty cool. We got some middle ground, which is in our case the rock where you need to climb. You can see that there's like the nice silhouette, and then there's that. And what's really nice about it is that there is this opening here. So this opening here works as a Winnie. So you're like looking at that and you see that in the frame, because that's the only place in this shot, unless you look up, but not all the players looks up when they're playing. But in this shot, they made sure that you were able to see the sky from this, which is what attracts the eyes. And you can see how the light from the sky and the sun is like creating this interesting reflection that goes to the tree as well. I don't know if the tree is like in line or if that's another way to chip, but looks like they have a nice silhouette there to get the trees a bit out from the background. And yeah, I think they did a really good job to leading the player there. Obviously, this is just a tutorial, so it's kind of clear, but you can see also this vertical thing is literally climb there, where here it doesn't doesn't tell me climb here, right? Because it's like I don't have a visual cue that tells me that that looks climbable, but here it definitely looks like. So the fact that there's this very harsh line here with this organic nature of the rocks is just another way to attract the eyes and the brain to think about that. As I was saying earlier, breaks the silhouette in the foreground elements to make it cool. It's interesting, and yeah, you can see another line here. So probably you just go there somewhere and then go up there, etc. Yeah, no, not much to say. I mean, there's always more to say, but that was, I think, enough.
I wonder how people reach this place since the bridge is broken. And I don't think they have a grappling hook like
They never left.
Probably.
So here again, we know that the player is gonna climb here somehow in the middle, somehow on the right, somehow on the left. So we try to make things pretty, and you can see how we got these nice trees there. You got the rock, something, this sort of channel on the where the vegetation is missing that guides you a bit. And then in addition to that, we got a stealth looking flanking route. I don't know if that's a flanking route, but I don't know if that's that. Might suggest it. I don't know. And yeah, the sign is a bit behind there, but it's cool. And yeah, again, the path is now in the middle in front of you, but it's saying one of our famous rule of third things around. So it's never like in this case, this game, and you can see a lot of symmetry with central composition, but it's a lot of times like here, just the path that goes there. Oh, pretty cool. So again, it's very important to work on the shots that you are sure the player is gonna see. This is really cool. Let me see if I can get a screenshot without the thing. And oh, sorry, I misclicked. Let's go back a bit.
King Delu just spent 2,000 spaghetti points just to see me dancing, I guess.
Yes, we got this challenge, guys, that will last 30 days. That if we reach 30,000 spaghetti points, Borto will dance for us. We'll dance the
That's
spaghetti
easy,
game.
I guess.
So here, okay, here, perfect. We got this nice landscape, and I think it's really cool, and there is a lot of depth, and you can see that thanks to the fog and the atmospheric fog, we have that sort of plane separation,
Hello.
which is.
I think something is off with my cam. I see the UI of this. Okay.
Don't be so scared. You can see how there are planes there. There's like this plane here, which is one plane, and then we got the foreground, which is this plane, and then following the other plane, we got probably something like that. And then not lastly, but almost lastly, we got this guy there. And then lastly, we get the first line of mountains and then the last line of mountains, which is down there. So if you're making an environment like this, which is very open, try to create those sort of layering of objects and elements in your scene, so that you add a really good sense of that. In this case, the atmospheric fogs already does the job, because I feel like these objects are naturally far away in the space, which allows the fog to make the layers behind the other one brighter than the one before. And you can see also how the same rock, like let's take this rock here, this color of the rock here is the same rock everywhere, the same color, but because the atmospheric fog, because it gets away from you, it gets brighter and brighter. So you can see how this color here is the same color as probably somewhere there. And if I sample this color here, it's this one, and if I sample that color there, it's this one. So you can see how the fog is helping to transition these layers. And probably if I take this the color here, it's gonna be, see there. If I take the rock from here, it's gonna be even probably there. But yeah, you can see how the same color over the distance it increases in brightness because of thanks to the atmospheric fog, and that's really good to create that sense of layering and sense of depth. Another thing that you can do to make that more visible is to add some sort of effects or smokes or things behind the layers that you want to accentuate. So let's say that this is a good example. For example, let's say that we want to highlight this structure better. What we do on top of the fog that we already have, that creates a really good sense of depth. We create a smoke coming. What is that? Is that smoke? I don't know how to draw smoke. Anyway, we create some sort of smoke that obviously like a bright smoke, so that it makes this area here popping out more because there is a major contrast. Let's say that we wanted to highlight this thing more. What we would do, we would like take some smoke and like bright smoke like that, and have the smoke coming behind, and you can see now. Obviously, I'm not using like the right color, but imagine if there is like smoke there. You can see how better you can read the silhouette of that thing. And that's like that. Obviously, like then the smoke will be affected by the light, so it will have like, I don't know. But you can see how you can get the details from your scene by adding brighter elements behind the layers of where the details is in order to highlight them more. And that can be done in general for like signposting, where to go, just to make it pretty, many ways.
Cool.
If that makes sense, guys. As always, if you have any question, feel free to ask. Balculo.
Hey, Balculo.
Such a nice name. Again, we have this node that kind of helps us navigate the space. Oh, good you are.
Yeah.
Good.
Wait and see.
You even tried to fight trees now?
What I was doing here? Is it towards breaking time?
It's really upset with the trees.
Oh yeah, I see. I skipped the tutorial on how to loot dead bodies, and I was trying to figure out how. Okay, I found it. Yeah, exactly. Trying to pick up coins.
So one thing that I saw there, which was really cool, let me go back a bit. And that's the second time that I saw it. It's in general, if you have grapple points, if you can, it's a good way. It's a good thing to have them in location that sticks out. So in this case, you can see how we got the general shape of the the rooftop here, which is going down. And those grapple points are very breaking that sort of general shape, kind of. Oh my god. They're kind of breaking the general shape of the rooftop, which makes them stand out more, which in this case, you see them and you try to use them. I think also here, you feel like you can use that, and the fact that there's snow here, as we were saying earlier, like landing on the snow or the snow leading, this might suggest that you might be able to climb that as well. But yeah, breaking the silhouette with the gameplay element is really good to make more use of it and more visible. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Look at that. My god.
So this game has very... Yeah, go on, go on.
No, go. Hey.
Yeah, go on.
That was just the thing. There was a tree here that you were able to climb, so you can either go from the top and then land on this guy. You can go through here. You can go from the stairs there. So there are many ways to approach this sort of encounter, and that's something that you should take into consideration when you're making an environment. Try to create a space that makes logic. So in that case, there is like this stairs going up to this door here, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, you got this balcony here, which I think is a balcony, which is where the other structure was. And from here, you can get behind that guy, or because we had a tree here, which had a lot of interesting silhouette and gameplay elements, you can climb the tree and then beat the death from above. And as always, a reminder, you know that some player can take this route. So this is sort of the entrance point of these doors here. So works on the silhouette and the composition of things and the details, if you can. Yeah. Yes. Cool. And again, we got lights here, so signposting it. Another cool thing, probably, I don't know if this is the gate where you have to go in this space, but and I think it's more visible from other angles, like maybe if you look at from that side, but you can see how the flags here are all sort of red and moving, and that's really like, I put a flag where you have to go is very like, we know that if you do a race, there's always like a flag at the end, like something. The fact that it's red is making it popping out a bit more, and it's I guess integrated with the culture of this place. And the fact that moves with the wind is another way to get the eye there, because the eyes likes movement. So whether we have movement, the eyes will gravitate towards that movement. So when you place movement, try to make sense of it, especially if you're placing movement in a gameplay area where there's a lot of things going on. Make sure that you place it in location that makes sense to have it, because otherwise it might distract negatively the player's experience. What you wanted to say? Question time.
So, question time. We have one question from Balculo. Okay. So, Balculo asked, how do you make these kind of decisions while working on a level? Do you set a camera and work from there? Maybe some sketches?
So in games, we can't really control the player's camera unless there are cinematics that takes over control the camera entirely. So what we do, we try to identify places where we know that for sure the players will go through. So like a door or something that all the player has to go through because there's no other way to approach the next phase. So by doing that, we create this bottleneck where we know that all the players gonna go through that door, and we know that all the players gonna face forward. So in that case, we can plan ahead with the composition and the way we place things around. So definitely like gating the players and knowing where those gates are. It's the way to work on these shots where you interact the players or do things. And you can have doors that you can go through. You can have some things that you have to do, like some buttons that you have to press in a location that where you press it frames something. You can have a ledge that you only have to work on it, which is you know that the player is gonna work on it. So you can have all different mechanics to know where those gates are. Hope that answers your question. And yeah, like there is a concept art team that helps us to help us understand the vision of the art directors, and usually either the art director or the concept art teams might provide us some environment. It also depends by your level of experience, because more experienced environment artists they get more freedom because they know already the process to get to the quality that the game is trying to achieve. But yeah, hope that answers your question.
Cool.
Back to the video.
So if you guys have any other questions, drop it in the chat and we pick them up. Nice office. Thank you, Marco.
So in this case, so it looks like I'm not entirely sure, but if I go back to the video, let me see if I can stop it. I went too far, too far back. Sorry. Okay, so we were here, we're climbing the tree, so there is plenty of option to address each encounter, which is pretty good. And when you're making an environment, try to add that if the gameplay of the game that you're making the environment for allows you to do that. If you're making a personal project, just stick with a game that already exists and try to make the environment in whatever style you want, but with the game mechanic of the game of choice. But what I like here, earlier we were talking about snow, and I feel like snow both helps you to guide the players where to go, but also shows you where the NPCs go. So in this case here, we see how we got this kind of thing. It's kind of weird how I ends here, but never mind. And we know that I think there was a guy somewhere here. So to me now, the snow shows where the guys are now walking. So we know that the guys are walking here, and then walking down the stairs, and then going back there, looking around, and coming back and doing things. So in location, snow helps you to define where the NPCs are walking and doing things to add logic to it. In other location, snow helps you to guide the player, because this sort of details is invented. So the snow is where you actually have to follow or land or go to. So it's really nice how they use the snow, in my opinion, because in some places it's more like for the player, in some places for the NPC, but in both cases works to tell us that this type of environment. When you place things like fire and you have snow, make sure that the snow is melted around it, so that you ground the logic of the object more with the environment. I think they must have forgot this. A lot of times in production, lighting team might comes after you did the pass, so maybe you then don't have more time to address feedbacks and things. So that's why these things might happen. It's just normal.
It's cool. I didn't catch that. The path of the NPC.
So back to your question, Balculo. Like this gate here, we know that all the player, but a big chunk of players will go through here. So that's where we try to really work with the composition editors. So in this case, we got some like foreground elements. We got some sort of wet floor here, which is where the I guess the snow is melted. You got this path going on that leads you down there. You got some leading lines that are also leading us down to that direction and stuff like that. So definitely, That's a good example of a gate. Uh-oh. 3. Oh my god. Is it here when it's gonna happen?
No, I don't think so. But I started to become spooky scary about the game right here.
Ooh. So okay, we got that gate. There was a nice composition there with the tree, with the house and everything. See on the rooftop of that house how the snow is helping to add logic, but as well to contrast that snow to that rooftop to tell you that you can walk there.
Cool.
So like here, it's another of those gates. So let's see when Borto looks up. No, it's reading tutorial. I guess he doesn't like to look at the nice pretty things. But yeah, like in that place there, which I'm gonna, let's see if I can get a better shot. Go back a bit. So like in this shot here, for you, be cooler. That's another opportunity to, we know that most of the players, they're gonna go through this gate here, so we are like making sure that what they see is relevant and is nicely placed. So in this case, we got, like, I think this case here allows you to assess the situation and understand what's your course of action. So from here, probably you can see, okay, there is a grapple point up there that we saw earlier, we saw Porto going earlier. We see that there is this tower here that you might be able to climb. You see that this is the path that the guards are doing, because even if you don't know, your brain understands that. And you know that there might be guard and things. And we got something going on there that we might find loot, and all these little things allows you to understand what's your strategy that you're gonna use in this space here. And as I mentioned earlier, when you have those sort of gate for the players to go through, make sure that you add the details in a nice way. Such like in this case, the silhouette is very nice. You got like that sense of destruction that is very, very well represented here. And I don't know if there are here, probably here on the ground, but you can see how like destruction there's something there, things sticking out. Got this nice reflection, not reflection, the thing there. One thing that you need to do in order to add more logic is to place those elements that are missing from a destruction. So in this example, we are missing this other piece of wood here that doesn't exist. So where is it? So probably if we are looking back in the video, or maybe now, but maybe you find those elements on the ground, or maybe on the ground, like on this floor, or maybe on the ground down there. Same for all those like little elements here. You don't have to stick 100% to what is missing, but it's a good idea to show the missing part of a destroyed thing on the surrounding area, so that you can better ground the level of destruction that area has. And again, you don't have to place it at all, you just need to sell that idea. So as far as you sell the idea, you don't have to be super precise on the amount of pieces and what pieces you are breaking and placing around. That would definitely help ground better the destruction.
Maybe we won't even see first death. You know, it's like 2 hours, this stream.
Yeah, so we're gonna stop in 10 minutes. That was a nice thing. So I'm surprised that Borto never died yet. I thought you say it was hard to play this game. Chan never dies. Indeed, in this line, indeed.
Because I usually cut the parts where you just cannot jump. Yeah, I had some issues with moving in general. God mode activate.
God, that aggressiveness. Got my picture next to the fire there. Looks like an effects that place.
So maybe we could end it here, you know?
Are you gonna die
Would
here?
you agree? No, just for the sake of the live stream, you know.
No, wait, I wanna see how this fight goes.
Okay.
You were doing so good, so I'm confident.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. Again, you can see the area where you're fighting is very free of obstacles, so that you can dodge and dash and move around easily. And you can see puddles there, that makes it look cooler.
It's a mini boss? Yeah, sort of. You need to defeat him twice.
Oh. Good.
Just one death. It's okay.
Yeah, in an hour video you die once. I think it's a really good ratio.
Also, I think it's kind of mandatory to die in a solo game. No, you need to die at least once.
Yeah, if you guys have any last questions you wanna ask, that's the time. Because in 5 minutes we're gonna stop the stream because we are keeping this 2 hours to make it more, just to make it more like watchable. And yeah, and also because I need to go back to work.
I think I'm covering this stamina. I think it's right here. I think so. Yeah.
And here we got some.
Some loot. Some items.
Thank you guys for coming here. And before we stop, we're gonna see how many die. What happened at the end of the video. So at the end of the video, I think Bort is like playing around. I see that we got new texture, new things that are red that can help us leading players. I feel like this was the same place that we were earlier, but never mind. So after an hour, I feel like we didn't went really far.
So here, this is the first mini boss. It's the Chain Ogre. And it was kind of harsh for, you know? I don't know if... I have to be sincere about it. I couldn't defeat it. It was too hard for me. I died too many times and I rage quitted. And that day I was like typing to Leo. I was saying, we need to skip Sekiro. It's not going to be good at all. You know. I was heavily raged about the game. End game boss for me, yeah.
At this point, I saw you killed that. So he did it, cool. But then
yeah,
what?
but you need to kill twice. You know, on the upper left corner, there's that red dots are the many times you need to kill the boss.
And do they have to kill you twice too?
Well, you have to kill him twice, but you can actually resurrect if you kill him. If you die and you have killed someone, you can resurrect.
Oh, I see.
But if you, there were times where I couldn't even defeat him the first time, and I was dead right away. That Ogre gave me a headache. Yeah, I need to search it actually, how to defeat him. You can stealth to him and actually take one life. I did that, but I couldn't defeat him even there. I think this is the last fight that I had with him, right? This is the end of the video.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are very close to the end of the video, so we're gonna finish with the end of the video. Which
It's kind of nice to let them see that I was kind of good at the end of.
Yeah, and it's also good to see how many times you die. What was that? 16?
18 in total.
18. So who got closer to 18?
I think everyone answered 15 to 20. So there were like 6 people that tried about 25 times. Oh, I see.
That's good. So
Okay,
I guess
cool.
Paul got closer. Got the closest guess. Let's see how this video ends. Because I think it's... Alright, so we quit the game. Nice menu. I see.
The final rage quit. That was fun.
I hope you guys enjoy it. And
Oh, Leo, wait. I think we should actually show the last meme.
the last meme. Okay, we got
Yeah.
the last meme. So
We promised.
we promised we were showing the last
So
meme.
just a little bit of context. Leo did a live stream Sunday. It was Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sunday. And in Toronto was raining. So he decided to do a Levelart stream about Far Cry 5. He did a new environment in the Far Cry 5 editor. And it actually went to end it 13 hours. 13 and a half hours.
Around 13 hours, yeah.
So he did like an alpha marathon just because it was feeling good about it.
Yeah, it's nice.
So I did this final meme for him.
Which we're gonna see
can
now.
show it if you want.
Live. I haven't seen it, so let's see what this is about. Okay. Full screen. Alright, it's raining outside.
So that's
good.
it.
It's very, as always, very high quality meme here.
Thank you so much.
I really like the way you integrated the faces
with the beard.
Oh, God.
I hope you like it, guys. So thanks for
thanks for watching, and we will see you on Thursday. If you want to join, we're gonna look at Batman. So we're gonna look at another third-person game.
Yeah.
And
First-person action game.
It's gonna be full of puddles, lights, and things. I'm excited
Rain,
for that. And as always, like we're gonna we are making also highlights video that are 10 minutes long on the YouTube channel. So if you don't have time, and we know that you all don't have time to watch all the VODs from 2 hours long, so you can watch those 10 minutes highlights about other episodes and see what you think.
Cool.
Thanks for coming. Let us know in the comment if you want to see the next what game do you want to see next, and if you have any feedback for us. We're pretty new with streams, so everything is appreciated.
Also, feel free to join our Discord server. I think the bot spam it a little in the chat. Gonna send you the invite right away. Right there, you can actually suggest our next game or just keep updated with our latest, content. So, thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
You
And
guys
for
are
Marco,
using
last
them?
question is now we're not using chroma key, but we are in this new office that we bought the other day. It's cool, new office. Alright. As always, guys, see you next time.
Bye bye, guys.